Howdy folks, welcome to the channel, The Agnostic Philosopher. That's me, Don. I am pretty neutral on stuff. I'm a philosopher at heart. I love arguments. I don't mean arguing. I don't like that actually. But I like learning. I'm curious. I like hearing different streams of thought. Could be atheistic, could be theistic. That's how I started the channel basically. But I delve into all different realms and try to ferret out what the implications are, whether the arguments are made well, whether I agree with them, what I think the gaps in them are. But in this one, we're looking at Neil deGrasse Tyson, what went bang in the Big Bang? And I love this because I've wondered, well, now this is the Big Bang, and if it's theorized, I don't know what they're going to talk about in here, that the Big Bang emanated from a singularity, an infinitely dense point. I've said this on a number of videos. My question is, what was the destabilizing force or element or dynamic within that singularity that would have caused it to lose its singularity? There had to be some kind of deviation from within. And conceptually, when I think of an infinitely dense point, it would be pure, meaning no deviations or variations within it, such that nothing could cause that rapid expansion and lose its singularity, if you will. So I don't know if he's going there, but what went bang in the Big Bang? Maybe he's going to talk about it. I think he's part of a mini panel in this one.
Hello, Dr. Tyson, Dr. Lou. I am Chris Wynn from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'm new to preaching and love the show. My question is, during the Big Bang, what went bang? If we don't know, what are your best guesses?
The Big Bang term is attributed to a guy named Fred Hoyle.
Yeah.
It was an interview done early on in the middle of the 20th century.
He was a steady statist.
Back when ideas for the beginning of the universe were still uncertain.
Right.
And they were still contesting.
Right. And so he
Hypotheses.
himself did not like the idea that the universe started from nothing or something very small and became something big. And so the journalist that he was speaking with or interviewer or whatever said something like, so you're thinking the universe is kind of like a big bang of some kind. And that just stuck.
Did he do it to make science, in all seriousness, sexy? Like sort of to get people sort
Today,
of more
no one
excited?
really knows. I've seen it historically
Pejorative.
expressed as it was derisive or that it was spectacular, one or the other. But yes, the right answer is it's an expansion of space and time from something small to something big. It was not an explosion.
Right.
And now we have this problem where we think, oh, if the Big Bang is an explosion, what did it explode into? You know, things like that.
Wait, it was an expansion, not an explosion. I think that what would the difference be? Just the rapidity? Because an explosion is an expansion.
Part of that
Right.
is...
Where did it explode from?
yeah.
There's a lot of other...
And then there's this thing called cosmic inflation, right?
That's right.
Which happened in the first tiny fraction of a second.
Which is an expansion within an expansion.
Right.
You know, imagine if you're blowing up a balloon slowly, and then suddenly someone slaps you on the back, and your air all goes out at once, you know, and it blows up. And we call that inflation, which gets mixed in with all kinds of other
during
things.
the Jimmy Carter era hyperinflation that existed at the time.
Just before. Nixonian times.
Are you sure?
But there is a
I'm pretty sure. But it was like 10%.
It was in the 70s.
But there
Yeah,
is
it was 10% inflation.
When
Yeah.
this happened, okay, this cosmic inflation, there is a theory that a gas cloud formed the initials WIN, which is whip inflation now. Jimmy Carter. Come on, that was good. That was good.
Okay.
See how I brought that back? Come on.
It's historical, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, by the way,
everything is
just
historical.
just while we're on the,
Sure.
how does it relate back to society? I came of age. I'm a little older than you. I came of age.
You're a lot older than me.
When people...
I think I heard him whisper, "Your oldest dirt," and I didn't think it was a very scientific term, but that's what he used.
I think I'm 20% older than Charles here, plus or minus. So I came of age when we applied computing power to what galaxies would do to each other when they encountered.
Classic paper by two brothers, Alar and Yuri.
I remember the first time I was exposed to that idea of galaxies coming was in a philosophy of science class at Rutgers. Tim Maudlin was my professor. I think he's at NYU now, and NYU and Rutgers have the top two philosophy departments in the country and within the top three in the world. And Tim was a very good teacher, knew his stuff, affable, friendly guy, as all my professors really were. And he first said this, and this was back in the mid-'80s. He posed the question, what would happen if two galaxies crossed through one another? Because right now Andromeda is heading toward the Milky Way. And we're like, you try to picture it in your head the way you normally do, that, well, stars are going to crash into each other, but then you think, well, there's so much distance between them. Is the galaxy going to go around? And he said, back then, I don't know if it's changed now, and we may find out, but back then it was theorized that it would just pass through each other, because they're such vast, cover such vast, like the Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across. But I don't know. To me, it was like they're so massive, literally the mass. There is so much mass that it affects gravitation, and they have to have some effect. And what would happen if like two stars crashed into each other and they were both very large stars? Could they impact the other stars around near them? I don't know.
Toomray in 1972.
Toomray and Toomray.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Terrific paper.
Yeah.
What kind of data are you inputting into the computer?
We saw these weird looking galaxies out there. This is just an analog, so I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Mm-hmm.
Really weird looking galaxies. And there was someone in our field who compiled them into one catalog.
Chip Arp.
Called the Atlas of
Peculiar Galaxies.
Yeah, these are galaxies that are just weird. They don't match any form.
Right.
So I don't know why, but here they are. And everyone's saying, what could make these galaxies? Are they
not a spiral?
Are they born that way? And then Gerard de Vaucouleurs, who's a galaxy
Jerry.
guy.
I call him Jerry.
Yeah.
We're like this.
He was very French. He was pretty sure that a crashed Lexus is not a different kind of car. It's still a Lexus. Okay. So that was his
analog. It becomes a Toyota, actually.
Yeah. So he becomes a Toyota. Good one. Yeah. Good one. So the idea that, no, they're not peculiar. They changed because they had these encounters, these collisions.
These galaxies collide.
Yes. And they're colliding all the time.
Right.
Okay. Now, I forgot why I was even going to mention
Cosmic inflation.
Where was I going to non-inflation? Oh, yeah. Yes.
Chip
so
Arp.
at the time, this is now in the 80s, okay? These are your people now. In the 80s, we called this.
Wait a minute.
No, you'll understand why in 10 seconds.
Come on, Eileen.
So we called it in our field mergers and acquisitions.
Oh, my God.
We did.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Galaxy mergers and acquisitions.
Oh, my God.
So
Because that was so hot then.
It was so hot out of Wall Street. So we have inflation and mergers and acquisitions.
And now look where we are.
Yeah.
That's right.
We were Dr. Stank. And,
all right. Well, as Neil will do, he meanders all over the place, and we didn't exactly get what went bang. Sir Fred Hoyle, he, I guess in the 50s, was a physicist and mathematician, and I think he calculated the odds, if you will, the probability of life forming on Earth in a primordial soup with what was known of proteins and amino acids and all that back then. And I think he came up with something like 1/10 to the 610th or to the 43,000th, something like, basically it was zero. And there was an article published that said, like, Sir Fred Hoyle, who I think was an atheist, said, there is a God. And I don't know who wrote it. I don't know the full story behind that. But he was the one who it's attributed to, who coined the phrase the Big Bang. And as I understand it, he used it derisively, to use this gentleman's word, because he was a steady statist. He didn't think there was a singularity or something out of which. I think he just thought the universe always was. It might have been expanding. I don't know what his take was, but that the density of the universe was relatively static, basically uniform throughout, that it wouldn't have come from infinitely dense and then gone out and all that. But we didn't get into these gentlemen's ideas behind where it started. What went bang? I don't think we know, because we don't even know if the Big Bang even happened, if a singularity is real, if that's how it all got going. So how could you say? So, all right, guys. Sometimes questions are a lot of fun, even when we don't get the answers. Maybe we will in our lifetime find out what went bang, if anything did. So have a great day. Leave your comments. I read them. Please subscribe and keep thinking philosophically.